Welcome back to Shoptalk TV. Up next, a conversation between Amal Benashu, Managing Director and Global Luxury Lead at Accenture, and Rebecca Bemhana, VP of Content for Shoptalk Luxe.
Amal, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you for having me. Very excited to be here in Shop Talk and in Las Vegas.
How have you found the show so far?
Oh, very inspiring, very interesting topics, and I'm looking also forward for my session this afternoon on luxury industry.
Likewise, I will be front row for that. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Thank you.
So let's dig in a little bit to the state of play with luxury fashion at the moment. So luxury is really at a turning point. There are economic headwinds, massive changes in consumer behaviors, not to mention the disruptive potential of emerging technologies as well. Amongst these shifts, some brands are finding double-digit growth. In your mind, what's driving these profound changes, and which brands are leveraging opportunities for growth in the most effective ways?
Yeah, indeed, luxury industry is it's an inflection point. There is, of course, the macroeconomic context, inflation, China. There is dropping also within this industry. But as you mentioned, consumers' behaviors and also the next gen of consumers for this industry has been dropped for the past 2 years. The industry overall lost 50 million aspirational customers, right? And we have recently surveyed 500 executives within the luxury industry, and we looked at how the 20% of the luxury leaders are still growing, right? And what we found out is that those leaders are finding the right balance between desirability and operational excellence, meaning pointing the dimension of desirability that matter and also investing on their operational excellence to make the whole value chain more agile and more also simple for their customer expectations.
Can you give some examples of specific brands and what they're doing really to drive operational excellence and really enhance brand desirability?
Of course, so among the 20% of luxury leaders, we can probably mention Prada as a group. So Prada is tackling all the customer and the commerce topic as one of their priorities, making it more composable and making it also more agile to meet their customer expectations, but also to understand their customer base to better address them, right? And if we look at within Prada Group, Miu Miu is a very interesting brand, right? Miu Miu has been able to also to target the new gen and the Gen Z consumers, and it's not only about quality and craftsmanship or exclusivity. It's really how to offer them the experience they are expecting, because this generation have probably values and behaviors that are different from the traditional luxury consumers. Well, another example that is doing very well, Hermes, is of course the high-end luxury brand, and very different strategy. So Hermes is one of the brands that are really tackling the scarcity on luxury, right? So being in a wait list today within Hermes is a symbol itself. So, and those are some example of the brands that are doing very well in the current context.
Very interesting. I'm really glad that you mentioned Miu Miu. That's certainly the jewel in the crown of Prada, and very interesting for all of the reasons that you mentioned. I'd love to dig a little bit deeper into that. So looking at luxury and kind of opportunities for growth, it's incredibly important, especially for the high top luxury brands, to be driving loyalty amongst their top spenders. Something like the top 2% of spenders equate for about 40% of the luxury sales overall. So obviously driving loyalty amongst that customer type is super, super important. But also at the same time, it's really important to be driving growth amongst the aspirational shoppers. So, you know, the likes of Gen Z, etc., who will likely move up the kind of echelons of spending to eventually be part of that customer base eventually. So kind of you mentioned Prada and Miu Miu as a really interesting example of a group that is able to do that. Do you have any other examples of ways that brands are able to speak to these very different customer sets in a really effective way?
So actually, to your point about how to address the VICs and also make sure that you are engaging with the aspiration customer, this is one of the key challenges for the luxury industry currently, either on high-end side, but also we can see that accessible luxury or premium luxury is also trying to find this balance. And back to the desirability dimension, it's really about of course, keeping the brand DNA in the core value proposition is key for those brands, while looking for modernity and balancing, again, heritage with modernity and innovation, balancing timelessness with exclusivity and expansion, right? And there is no we don't have one recipe from my perspective. It's not one size fits all. It's really about understanding the core, the brand DNA, the core value, and making sure that you had the fundamentals. The fundamentals are, first of all, quality and craftsmanship. The savoir-faire in luxury is really crucial. Exclusivity and how you are addressing exclusivity. And exclusivity is not only about pricing power, it's how you are managing your distribution strategies and how you are controlling production within your value chain to be able to address those customers. So to the examples, Bottega Veneta is one of the great brands that are well addressing the VICs. And by the way, we can see even from retail perspective how those brands now are offering new spaces for those VICs. We are not talking about boutique or store anymore. We are talking about apartment. When you can feel the brand DNA, we can feel the history and the heritage of the brands, but we can also see that creativity is very aligned with all the other dimensions of desirability.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So kind of invite only appointments to apartments for the top spenders. Yeah, really, really interesting. As we're hearing similar things in the conversations that we're having as well. So in terms of premiumization, so we're seeing this trend across industries from beauty, fashion, hospitality, travel even, just given what we just spoke about with your experience coming across from France. So what do you think is fueling this broader movement towards premiumization, this really elevated customer expectation in terms of seeking value that goes beyond product ownership? What do you think is driving that trend of premiumization?
Yeah. So diversification is probably one of the interesting component to look at on the luxury industry these days. They are indeed expanding the reach to beauty, but also to hospitality. And actually, I see two reasons behind that. The first one, of course, beyond the expanding their growth on those categories, it's really about, again, engaging with the aspirational customers. No, Gen Z or next gen in luxury industry we probably start by buying a fragrance or a lipstick, right? And it's how also to offer them the experience in that space to make sure that they are understanding this generation and what are the expectations and the behaviors of this generation. So it's a kind of, I will probably describe it as a laboratory for the brands, and again, the experiential value is very important. So hospitality is probably also a segment where luxury brand can test and learn how they can what kind of experiences they can offer to their customers, and again, how to consolidate their customer base. What is very important while the luxury brand are expanding, from my perspective, is really to keep it consistent with the core value proposition, right? Back to the DNA, back to the probably the culture of the brand, while expanding to other categories. It's very important that the customer can find this consistency on the value proposition, because there is an artistic director, there is probably storytelling around that. So very important to make sure that there is alignment across the categories.
Your point about the hospitality industry was really interesting. I think an added kind of element as well that's interesting when we talk about hospitality and what the learning opportunities that luxury brands can take from there. That's something that we hear about in conversations with luxury leaders that we're speaking to. They really look to adjacent industries like hospitality, for example, to really be inspired around how to anticipate customer needs ahead of time. There's a really interesting example that was shared with me of an executive who was staying in a luxury hotel, and it had a double-ended in his room. There was a double-ended closet where you hang up your suit, close the door, and the staff take it away and dry clean it, and it's back in your wardrobe before you even have the chance to know it's there. So certainly, in terms of learning opportunities from adjacent industries like hospitality, that's something that luxury executives that we speak to are really interested in learning from as
and
well.
it's like when you look at the experience, the end-to-end experience of your customer, you need, well, we usually talk about omni-channel, right? How to make online and retail as one channel in how you know again your customers. But hospitality or the experience in hotel is probably an interesting use case also for luxury brands to feel and to create the emotional connection with their customer. We again, the experiential value within desirability framework, it's about the emotional connection, right? And this is something that's crucial for this industry.
Absolutely. Moving to another part of the conversation, which I'm really looking forward to. So we've spoken quite a lot extensively around how luxury retail is evolving really, really fast. That is part of the reason why we're launching Shoptalk Luxe in January. Why do you think now is the right time for a show like Shoptalk that's dedicated to luxury and premium retail?
Well, from my perspective, luxury industry has always been a sector that is well advanced when decrypting trends and also projecting in the future, right? And actually, what's happening right now, the slowdown of the industry, which is not again only macroeconomic context, but it's really structural. Make it very interesting to look at this industry as a vertical, because it's not retail overall. We are really talking about luxury, and to make sure that the different dimensions that we've mentioned about disability, how the different brands will tackle them in the next month. This, if I gave an example, we are currently living a very interesting musical shares of artistic directors, right? Gucci announced last week Demna joining from Balenciaga. We have, of course, Donatella, who is stepping out from Versace, etc. And I believe that the next month and 2026 will be a very interesting season for fashion shows and for this industry, because we will have different flavors and different storytelling of these brands. And the challenge again is, okay, how they will manage and balance this this relevance of the brands, and how they will address their consumers base.
Absolutely. Finishing off, if you could give leaders just one piece of advice for thriving in this ever evolving landscape, what would it be?
I will probably say that operational agility brings relevance, right? So as I mentioned before, it's not one size fits all. There is no one recipe for all the brands when it comes to desirability. It's really a matter of selecting the key dimensions that matter for the brands, but also making sure that the operational excellence is tackled to enable the experiential value and also the exclusivity of the brands being live. So operational agility in order to reach the relevance.
Lovely. Well, thank you, Amal. We will leave our audience with that final thought. I could speak to you for hours. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I'm really looking forward to continuing this conversation at Shoptalk Luxe.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.